Why did there have to be so many upsets? Hello and welcome to Rugby League Happening, the show where we discuss the happenings in rugby league. I'm ZTank99, the person who makes tons of videos talking about knowledgeable stuff about rugby league, but the only one that actually pops up is where I look stupid. As for mentioned in the beginning part of this episode, a lot of upsets happened. It was a very screw your tips week, if you will. Like, it started off normally, the Newcastle Knights beating the Dolphins. The Knights were favourites. Some say a bit weird of how favoured they were, but obviously they got the job done. But then Friday happened. The New Zealand Warriors were able to defeat the Manly Seagulls at home, which was a pretty big outsiding job. And then you had the Sydney Roosters defeating the Penrith Panthers at a point, genuinely, where the Roosters were paying $11 to win. But here's the thing, there's only a few kind of people who actually ended up tipping the Roosters last week. You're either a very passionate and diehard Roosters fans, which in case, very valid point, or you're an absolute psychopath and you've just been validated. And then it carried on throughout Saturday when you saw the South Sydney Rabbitohs beat the Dragons by a golden point. Well, it wasn't golden point, it was a field goal. But then you also saw Canberra beating the Broncos because the Broncos decided after putting 50 on the Roosters, like, yeah, we're not going to show up. So yeah, that week was crazy. Let's hopefully make a return to normalcy. Moving on to one of the matches that actually was not an upset last week is the match on Sunday when the Parramatta Eels lost to the West Tigers. But more importantly, of a specific incident involving one of the players, Dylan Brown. Now, genuinely about an hour and a half after I released last week's episode of this series, it was announced that Dylan Brown essentially had told Parramatta he was going to leave and join the Knights. And I believe after the Knights win on Thursday, it was announced that he had officially signed. And Parramatta fans were not happy as Dylan Brown proceeded to get booed throughout most of the match. Like, boo, why do you accept a 10-year security deal worth $1.3 million that takes you to a place like Newcastle instead of Parramatta, you asshole? Like, I understand about, like, loyalty and that, but, like, let's be honest. Anyone comes at you with that offer, you're accepting it. Like, grow up. Like, don't be delusional here. And I have seen a lot of people, like, especially after that game, because Parramatta were only able to score 6 points, saying, like, oh, the Knights paid this for Dylan Brown. But here's the thing. We're saving Dylan Brown because we're actually taking to a team with something called talent. But there could be talks about a new halves possibility, as there's been rumours of who is going to come in to replace Dylan Brown. One of them being, arguably, the best player currently in the Super League in England, Bevan. Now, to be fair, there's pretty much every playmaker is being linked to Parramatta at the moment. Hell, I believe there's a rumour that a club from Sydney has been offering a 2-year deal to Daly Cherry Evans, and I'm not going to take a stab at any team, but I feel like it's Parramatta. He's obviously coming off winning back-to-back Super League premierships with Wigan, and still has 4 more years on his deal, but he has come out and said that he is planning on coming back to the NRL, but not anytime soon. So, unless if Parramatta offers a pretty decent deal, it won't be for a couple of more years before we see Bevan back in the NRL. But I think, honestly, if he does come back, I think he'd do rather well. To be fair, I feel like this situation can work dividends for Parramatta in the long term, as they've now got not a blank checkbook, but essentially they've got like a lot of space where we can actually properly build a new team. It's essentially just a rebuild. It's just probably going to take a bit more than this year for results to come up, unfortunately. So yeah, what do you guys think? Should Bevan go to the Eels? Or who should? Any player should go to the Eels? Let me know in the comments below, because I think this is going to be pretty interesting to see how this develops over the next year. Moving on from that, we now go to what appears to be another fan incident at a game, but apparently not as bad as pie throwing. So this took place on Friday between the New Zealand Warriors and the Manly Seagulls, where a Warriors fan decided to go up to the fence and start chirping Jake Trbojevic when he was being sin-binned in the Warriors win, with him allegedly saying, yeah, Gerbo, thank you, Gerbo. So basically just, just chirping him from like the fence. And then, unfortunately for him, there was a Manly player actually on the terraceway, and he wanted to chat to him. Like, I don't really think there's like that much in this situation. Like, the fan actually came out and said that, like, yes, I probably shouldn't have been collared by Gordon, but he doesn't think that there should be any repercussions for him because it was whatever. And the fan also says that there's a difference between banter and sledging, and what he was doing was banter. But yeah, the situation is quite interesting because there's a fair amount of people that are backing him up, saying it's like, yeah, fair play, glad you cleared everything up, so, for context, and it was like nothing malicious was said. But there are people on the other hand who are saying that like, but you came with your phone right near to like the sideline trying to get a reaction, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like it happens or whatever. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a interesting thing. I mean, it's a bit of a downgrade from last week, so we need to get more fan involvement, essentially. Now we move on to something which essentially is actually just dropped as of recording, which is the NRL handing a breach notice to Hudson Young and Morgan Smithies for their involvement in the Vegas inflatable hammer situation. Reading out as follows, the National Rugby League today issued Canberra Raiders players Hudson Young and Morgan Smithies with a breach notice alleging a breach of the NRL Code of Conduct. The breach notice alleges the players engage in conduct which has brought the game and their club into disrepute. The NRL recognises that the players provided a public apology and have accepted responsibility for their actions. In accordance with the collective bargaining agreement with the Rugby League Players Association, information concerning the NRL's proposed sanction will not be disclosed until the players have had the opportunity to respond to the alleged breach and the matter is finalised. So, yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see how this all plays out, but I just think it's like, I feel like there needs to be like a grading system of bringing the game into disrepute, because like, say what Hudson Young and Morgan Smithies did in comparison to say like, I don't know, Hammer Time or Pizza Man like type incidents. It's like, surely there's got to be like a grading system, because like, one of these is not like the other. And that is the end of Rugby League Happening. What are your guys' thoughts on any of the stories that have been mentioned? And also some stories that I may have missed. Let me know in the comments below and get discussing. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.